Have you ever wondered what truly happens once you cross the age of 80? This milestone is unlike any other, and no matter how much you prepare, certain changes naturally arrive that every person experiences. Yet these shifts are not simply declines to fear. They are natural transitions that can open the door to a richer, more meaningful stage of life. Turning 80 brings about 5 major changes, some that may cause concern, others that may surprise you, and one in particular that feels profoundly liberating. By knowing what to expect, you can welcome these changes instead of resisting them, making the years ahead not only easier, but more fulfilling. Aging is not just about losing abilities, it is about gaining perspectives that only time can provide. These 5 signs act like a map, guiding you through your 80s with confidence. You'll notice how your energy patterns shift, how your social circle reshapes, how your relationship with time deepens, how your memory and thinking adapt, and how an unexpected sense of freedom emerges. Life in your 80s is not a story of decline, but of transformation, a time for wisdom, authenticity, and living as your truest self. Take, for example, the first change, the transformation of physical energy and sleep patterns. At 80, your body no longer follows the same rhythm as in your 60s or 70s. Instead, it operates on a new schedule that asks for respect rather than resistance. The internal clock begins to tilt earlier, with bedtimes feeling natural around 8 or 9 p.m. and mornings beginning at 5 or 6 a.m. Energy peaks are sharpest in the morning and early afternoon, followed by a deeper dip around 2 p.m. that is stronger than before. This is not weakness. It is simply the body asking for rest. Night sleep becomes lighter, with less time in deep stages, and while this means waking more often, it does not always signal poor sleep, only a different kind of rest. When you honor this change, it works in your favor. Consider Lucille, an 82-year-old retired teacher, who once worried about waking before dawn and falling asleep too early. When she realized this was normal, she adjusted her routine, placing important tasks like reading, writing, and light exercise in the mornings, reserving afternoons for social visits, and taking a short rest around her natural dip in energy. Far from making her weaker, this new rhythm gave her more strength, focus, and joy than before. The lesson is simple. At 80, your body is not shutting down, it is fine-tuning. By noticing when your energy feels highest, matching important activities to those times, and creating a gentle, consistent sleep routine, you can thrive. The greatest change is not physical, but mental, learning to embrace the rhythm of a new chapter in life. Once you accept that your rhythms are changing, you stop battling against your body and begin to cooperate with it. That shift creates days that feel smoother, more productive, and less stressful, and you may even discover that far from losing energy, you actually gain vitality and purpose when you honor your body's natural cycle. Another major change in your 80s is the way your social circle evolves. Many people assume this stage of life means losing friends or feeling left out, but the deeper truth is that your social world doesn't disappear. It refines itself into something more authentic and rewarding. By this age, superficial connections fall away because you no longer have the patience or energy to maintain relationships that don't nourish you. Instead, you naturally gravitate toward those who truly understand you. Large gatherings often become less appealing, replaced by the warmth of smaller, more intimate conversations. Someone you once saw every week may drift out of your life, while another who was once just an acquaintance may rise to become a trusted companion. This is not social decline, it is social optimization, a natural shift where your emotional energy becomes precious and you choose to invest it only where it uplifts and strengthens you. Eugene's story reflects this beautifully. At 81, he felt discouraged when his longtime poker group dissolved, leaving him with a sense of social emptiness. But when he began volunteering at the library's literacy program, he discovered a new circle of peers in their 70s and 80s who shared his values and goals. Their conversations were rich, purposeful, and full of encouragement. Eugene realized that although one chapter had ended, another had begun, one that fit his current life far better. At the same time, he found himself giving more attention to his family, and his adult children responded with gratitude, honesty, and deeper connection. His social life did not shrink, it deepened. The lesson here is simple. Allow some friendships to fade without guilt. Stay open to new connections rooted in your present interests. Give more energy to relationships that leave you feeling understood. And embrace the truth that at 80, quality matters more than quantity. Many older adults describe their friendships at this stage as more supportive, more genuine, and more satisfying than ever before. You are not losing your social world. You're upgrading it into one that suits you better. The third great change that comes with turning 80 is not about the body or social circle, but about the entire perception of time. This is one of the most profound transformations of aging, quietly reshaping the way life is lived. Psychologists describe it as a shift in time perspective. In youth, time feels endless, and so much of it is spent meeting expectations, maintaining appearances, or chasing goals set by others. By the age of 80, time feels shorter, yet infinitely more precious, and this realization brings a beautiful clarity. Daily stamina may not be as strong and days may seem to pass more quickly, but instead of wasting hours on things that hold little meaning, attention shifts to what truly matters. Worry about what others think fades, replaced by a deeper concern for fulfillment and peace. This change is not about running out of time. It is about finally understanding what time is for. Ruby's story illustrates this perfectly. At 83, after more than 40 years of service in her church, organizing events, joining committees, and fulfilling every duty, she realized that obligation had taken the place of joy. In a moment of courage, she stepped away from those roles. Though her family and community were surprised, she devoted her mornings to her garden, her hands deep in the soil, tending flowers and vegetables. She also began volunteering at a community garden once a week, teaching younger people the skills she had nurtured over a lifetime. While others worried she was isolating herself, Ruby discovered she had never been more alive. By choosing passion over obligation, she experienced freedom. This is what happens at 80. The fear of missing out dissolves, and deliberate choices take its place. You say no more often, not from limitation but from wisdom, and yes only to what nourishes your soul. The impact of this shift is profound. Many describe feeling lighter, freer, and more intentional with their days, not by cramming an activity, but by ensuring every hour serves meaning. Researchers call this crystallized wisdom, the ability to see through distractions and recognize what truly matters. To embrace this shift, it helps to notice which activities give energy and which ones drain it, to practice saying no without guilt, to pursue experiences long postponed, and to spend more hours on what brings joy and peace, regardless of outside opinion. This transformation allows life at 80 to feel more authentic than ever before because at last, time is lived on one's own terms. Although your mind may feel slower in your 80s, something else begins to grow stronger. The ability to connect past experiences into patterns, to see meaning in situations, and to draw on a lifetime of knowledge to make wise decisions. Carlton, an 84-year-old retired engineer, noticed this change clearly. Once quick at memorizing technical details, he now struggled to recall information instantly. Yet when his adult son faced a complicated business problem, Carlton recognized the underlying pattern almost immediately. While younger minds got lost in the data, his decades of experience, woven deep into memory, gave him an insight that speed alone could never provide. This is what the brain does at 80. It transforms into a wisdom engine. Instead of racing to hold every new detail, it specializes in recognizing meaning, filtering noise, and focusing on what truly matters. This explains why older adults often excel at decisions involving perspective, judgment, or human behavior, even if they cannot recall a new fact as quickly as before. To work with this shift, many elders keep notebooks, calendars, or reminders for daily tasks, freeing their mental energy for deeper thought. Activities that stimulate pattern recognition, like strategy games, mentoring, or problem-solving conversations, help sharpen these strengths. Learning also remains vital, but it works best when connected to what is already known, expanding existing knowledge rather than beginning entirely new skills. The most important change is perspective. The mind has not weakened. It has specialized differently. You may misplace your glasses, but You can often read another person's intentions more accurately than anyone else in the room. You might forget a new neighbor's name, but you can quickly sense whether they are trustworthy and kind. This cognitive adaptation is one of the hidden gifts of aging. Though some surface speed is lost, profound insight is gained, and that wisdom becomes the strength you carry into your 80s. And with that wisdom comes perhaps the most surprising change of all, a profound sense of freedom and authenticity. At this stage of life, pressures that once dictated choices begin to fade. There are no more career ladders to climb, no more children to raise, no more social expectations to uphold. The responsibilities that once kept you tethered loosen, leaving space to live according to your own values, rhythms, and joy. Constance's story captures this shift beautifully. At 82, after decades of being the reserved, proper minister's wife, always cautious and bound by duty, she decided to stop living by others' expectations. Inside, she had always loved bold colors, painting, and creative expression, and now she finally gave herself permission to embrace that side of herself. For the first time in her life, she felt fully authentic, fully alive, and completely free. She began painting large, vibrant canvases, dressing in bright colors, and speaking her mind openly. Far from pushing people away, this authenticity made her feel more alive, engaging, and beloved. Her grandchildren adored this freer version of her, and her friends found her honesty refreshing. This is the essence of the transformation at 80. You stop living for appearances and start living for truth. You release obligations that no longer matter and discover joy in being fully yourself. The choices you make at this stage may surprise others, but they often inspire rather than shock, because they are rooted in authenticity. Relationships become more genuine without pretense, and energy, once wasted on fitting a mold, is redirected toward nurturing real connections and meaningful pursuits. This authenticity also reshapes daily life. You might move to a place you always dreamed of, start a hobby once thought impractical, or simply design your days around what feels significant instead of what looks sensible. This does not mean becoming reckless, but rather having the wisdom to know what matters and the courage to honor it. Many people say they feel more like themselves at 80 than at any other age because decades of roles and expectations are finally behind them, leaving only the freedom to choose which ones, if any, to keep. This freedom is both liberating and deeply fulfilling, allowing authenticity to flourish not just as a gift to oneself, but also to everyone around. In truth, turning 80 is not decline but transformation. These 5 changes, the shift in energy, the evolution of social connections, the new relationship with time, the reorganization of memory and thinking, and the embrace of authenticity, are not losses but adaptations. Each one reveals a different strength, offering wisdom, clarity, and freedom that younger decades cannot provide. A changing body rhythm teaches efficiency and intentionality. Reshaped friendships lead to deeper bonds. A new view of time fosters conscious living. A slower but wiser mind brings insight. And authenticity allows one to live as their truest self. Aging is not about losing who you are, but about becoming more of who you have always been. When these natural transitions are embraced, life at 80 often feels richer, more meaningful, and more satisfying than expected.